let's take a look at the loop. They sent me two. Let me talk to you guys about it. It's gonna be the lattice block system, but it's thicker and better now. We'll be the judge of that, I guess, and then we'll also take a look at that. I'm excited. I like the lattice mount system. The only thing I didn't like was those like fasteners that get put down. I never used them in any of the mode builds, towards the end anyways, but we'll see how the lattice block system is kind of improved now. And then the whole, I guess, looking of the board is gonna be completely different too. So we have the Penrose one, which is like the crema chassis and the rose accents, the Casette, which is the black accent, or sorry, black chassis with brass black mirror PVD accents. The Casette one's $599, Penrose is $359. And then the Aria, which is white with copper, that is $549. So I have the Penrose and Casette. I'm okay with Mode making some fun options for this. The difference is one's gonna have the aluminum weight and one's gonna have a, I think it's brass, yeah, brass weight on the bottom. So there is gonna be a big price discrepancy because of that. So we're talking about $359 for the Penrose versus $599 for the Casette. So it's almost a it's a $240 price difference for the brass. So the starting one is the Penrose one, which is all alu. I'll show you guys both right now. All right. That's very cute. I bet Chris did this. Oh, this is actually kind of pretty. So it kind of reminds me a little bit of the Envoy from the side. These kind of look like film reels. This is pretty. The rose gold and crema. It's still kind of hefty feeling. Like it's not like terribly light. There's the little accents on the top. It's kind of deep set, kind of like the Sonnet, which is kind of nice. Although I think the Sonnet was actually more flush. This is a little bit more inset here. And then we have the seam along the edges here, which is the mid-piece color, which is fun. Okay. This is not gonna have an F13 on it, so you get some extra space on the top over here. Front height is 19.5 millimeters. Again, this is gonna be a biased question, but I've always felt that 20 millimeters and lower is comfortable. I think 19.5, 20 is the highest I'll ever, usually go when it comes down to what I prefer in keyboards. I think I usually prefer the 18 mil. You wouldn't need to use a wrist rest with this, with 19.5. Anything higher than that, you probably would need to use a wrist rest to feel a little bit more comfortable, or else unless you're used to floating, All right, let's take a look at the Casette. Oh, the Casette version looks hold on. I know it's kind of dark on the stream right now, but that PVD is kind of hot on the accent. Ooh. Okay, I like that. Let's see. Oh, that is nice. I usually don't care too much for like an all blacked out build, but today feels like it's gonna be a fun day for an all blacked out build. This is kind of heavy. And then you can see the accent along the entire middle section of the board. You can see how that light just reflects it. Oh, baby. All right, let's see what this weighs. All right, so 5 pounds, 6 ounces, unbuilt. Not the heaviest build I've ever seen in my life, but pretty big, man, pretty heavy. This PVD, just so you guys can get an idea, I don't have like a good way to show you guys this because it is, like you can see it's like a mirror. This is really nice quality PVD. Is it fingerprinty? Probably. I don't want to touch it right now and get it fingerprinty, but yeah, probably. I guess my only concern, if I'm going to be honest with you about something, guys, maybe this is a non-issue because you can just use one of those like electronic blowers to get it out, but I worry that dust is going to settle in this little, part over here. So you may need to just dust it out once in a blue moon, but that might be my only concern about this. All right, let's take a look at the PCB. So now I have a question. Is this basically the same thing as the Mode 80 PCB? Yeah, that's smart. We got foam kit for this. This is new. Ooh. Mode branded tweezers? Damn, it's for your nose hairs. That's kind of rude. You got some stabs. Oh, there's even coming to another version of the, actually, I prefer this particular tweezer. I don't know if this comes with it though, but hope it does. That'd be cool. Daughter board, screwdriver bits. I'm just gonna leave those there with screws. I'll grab those as I need it. Oh, the feet and stuff. The lattice blocks. These are a little bit different this time around if you guys were curious. It's not gonna be like a press and fit like the other one. They actually go around the plate this time. So I'll show you guys. I think this version makes more sense for the lattice blocks, but it only makes more sense because it's not a one-piece design anymore. So that's why this makes sense. Although it might make more sense too for the one-piece design. That way they were just friction fits inside. And then they also have the other ones, the rubber ones. Let's start doing our stabs and then we can do all this stuff afterwards. I haven't really liked the Mode board since the Sonnet, hoping this is nice, or a redo of the Mode 65 down the road. I felt like the Tempo was a pretty good nod to the 65, the original 65 there, not the Envoy. It's the same PCB, what it seems like, as the Mode 80. I do love the Envoy with the slightly heavy weight. Dude, me too. I think the Envoy with the slightly heavy weight is nice. However, I feel like the Envoy, for me, is supposed to be that like, not entry level, but like more affordable option of the Mode lineup. So that's why I kind of like push for it to just be the all aluminum one. Also, so I did these Nixies with orange films today. These should be nice. So this particular version is $5.99 eGoon, but the loop starts at $3.59. I did ask what you guys want to see for a config today, and everyone wanted to see the most expensive config. So that's what we're doing. The most expensive one. What bit do I need for this? Now, my question is, ooh, okay, the loop loses 1 point. 1 small point. Because they're making me use 2 different bits for the exterior screws. I know they come with all the bits, but so this is a very nicely done implementation of a, you know, hidden screw design, as it were, because it's not from the top and doesn't really have any like, you know, issues with tolerances in that way. Lettuce time. So their ideology behind this now is you get the lettuce portion on the bottom, and then it'll peak a bit from the top, giving you this kind of pseudo force break mod, kinda. At least that's what they're claiming it to do. I don't exactly know if it would work as a force break mod. Let me see the top. I guess it actually would, because it's all one size. I was gonna say if there was any indentations on the top frame, it wouldn't really be a force break, but I guess it kind of is like a little force break mod, huh? All right, let's plug this PCB in. And I think this just gets pressure fitted in here. Interesting. It's like a little bit of an O-ring fit. So again, the only thing I'm gonna take away points for this is I kind of wish Mode adopted a singular screw for everything on the board. I know it's not like a big deal to some people, but it kind of low-key is a big deal to me. I would just prefer to use like one screw bit, and you can see they've included, with the exception of a Phillips screw, let's just say that's just for the stabilizers. There is 4 different screw heads here they've included. This is gonna be such a stealthy keyboard. What do you guys think? All right, let's take a look again from the top view here. There's gonna be fingerprints on this, guys. I'm so sorry. So they have the top accent again, it's recessed a little bit. I guess my only concern here is it might collect a bit of dust if you have a dusty room. Like I have a pretty dusty room, to be honest. So I guess the solution there would you need to use some sort of air blower, which most keyboard people probably already have, but just to be aware, it is recessed in a little bit. That might be problematic for collecting dust. I love the seam here, including the, you know, the little mid accent piece. Love, love, love that. That's so pretty. This is heavy. Very, very nice. And then ignore the fingerprints, but we have the accents on the back. It genuinely looks nice. I'll be honest, I was a little hesitant that I'd like the bottom and stuff. Here we go in the little sound test for this guy. So we are using an aluminum plate. There's no foam. We are using all the included, what are they called? Lattice blocks. I don't know if there's a new name for them, but just lattice blocks. And this is the Casette version, so the $599 version. And then we'll take a look at the pen rows right after this. We'll move the assembly into the pen rows to see what it sounds like. Little HJ test. Ooh, the spacebar is very different. It's kind of unique. I do want to touch up the spacebar stabs a little bit, so just give me 1 second. All right, and then I want to just swap this out. I know this sounds ridiculous. Everyone's been saying use non-filmed Nixies for the spacebar. I still don't quite understand why, because I've done some Nixies with filmed spacebars that sound This is nice. And this is not using long poles, by the way. So with long poles, I can imagine this being like pretty in your face. Ooh, I really like the Nixies on this build. In terms of, because I know this is probably a thing that people will talk about a little bit too, in terms of consistency, which you're not going to have consistency like up and down or left or right, but in terms of like hearing any sort of odd noises, I am not hearing anything at all. There's no odd noises. I think this is a better implementation of their lattice amount, and it does have a little bit of bounce to it. This is no foam in this guy. So if you probably use foam in this, it'll probably have a little bit more of like a bass sound, if anything. You know, that typical foamy thing, right? It's very crispy. I like this a lot. It's not too bright. I feel like this is a good overall sound signature. This is very balanced, I feel. Oh, dude, the weight difference. Yeah, before I forget, let's do that too. So it was 5 pounds, 6 ounces before. Okay, also it's on a desk pad, guys, so there's gonna be some variance there. Please understand that, but it's gonna be about 7 pounds after. Alex, will you be building this one as well? I'm just gonna move the PCB assembly in just to see what the all aluminum one sounds like, because I think that would be quite interesting to see, to kind of decipher, you know? But I'm curious. I am very, very, very curious. All right, let's see what this is gonna sound like now. So this is the exact same build that we just did. Inside the all aluminum version, we'll do a little HJ test. This sounds nicer to me. I'm sorry, guys. Actually, they're both different. The other one has like more full of like alphas, but I kind of like this one more. I'm gonna be honest. I think this is the nicer one out of the two sound profiles. This is more for like what I like. I mean, the nice thing about this is, even though this is no foam, no real weight to this, this is still all aluminum. I need to lube that a little bit better on the backspace. I am not hearing any sort of, yeah, I do need to fix up some of the stabs. I think the brass one wins for like the nav cluster. There's like the up arrow is not my absolute favorite, but I like the rest of the nav cluster better. Yeah, I like this. I like this more, the all aluminum one versus the brass. You know, this is still technically 5 pieces. You know, it's using a mid accent here, like the mid piece. So you got the accent in the middle, top, bottom, weight, and then another accent on top. So nice. So I don't think the price is like completely out there, considering how many pieces it has. The Sonnet's just about that price too. Different, totally different visual style. You know. What do you think is better? Do you think this is better than the Sonnet? I think the overall sound signature in the bass config versus like the bass Sonnet, I would prefer. But the Sonnet's a little different though, right? Like the Sonnet has a totally different mounting system, 2 mounting systems. I'm again just gonna be 100. I think Obscura probably already knows this. I'm a big simp for the Sonnet. The Sonnet is one of my favorite looking keyboards in the hobby. This doesn't top the Sonnet in terms of the way it looks, for sure. It's a neat looking board. It's definitely a little different. I'm gonna be honest. I do prefer the styling of the Sonnet. And I wish Mode did a little bit more with that kind of styling. I think that styling is beautiful. I love the Sonnet. Nothing tops that in terms of the way that I like for what Mode does, you know? But I like the sound profile of this a little bit more, and I like the feeling of this a lot too. Isn't as soft as the Envoy, but it still has some softness to it too. But it's all preference-based, man. Everything's preference with this hobby. I would say objectively, the only criticism I had for this, because I do like that Mode found a way to not have to use those fasteners. Obviously, this is not a one-piece design, so it just makes sense they wouldn't need it to use it here. The board sounds very consistent. There's no empty hollow spots. Kind of like some people thought about the Envoy, which I personally still don't really have those spots in my Envoy, but it sounds pretty consistent, as you guys can see. But styling wise, I have a feeling this styling is not going to be for everyone. So yeah, could be hit and miss. I don't mind it. Again, it's not my favorite looking Mode board. I think the Sonnet is still very hard to top, but it does look quite nice. I like the crema color with the rose accent. Hopefully we can customize these more in the future, because this with copper would be absolutely stunning. It is a little bit bouncy. It's not as bouncy as the Envoy if you've tested one of those. But even just a little bit of pressure, you can see some minuscule movement. It absorbs the shock really well, but definitely not as bouncy as what the Envoy was. Curious to see what this weighs. So this fully built is 4 pounds to 3 ounces. So let's just call it 4.5. Because again, I think this desk pad's probably absorbing some stuff. It's about 2 and a bit extra pounds of brass, 2.5 pounds, a little bit more of extra brass for weight wise. Again, I kind of prefer the aluminum one myself. It also makes more sense financially. All right though, guys, I think that's pretty much it. Thanks for tuning in, guys. I hope this was helpful. I'll do a more detailed written review like I normally do of the Mode boards in the next upcoming week. Just let me use the board for a few days to get a better sense of how I like it. So thank you again for tuning in, everybody. Really appreciate you. Talk to you guys later.